The email arrived at 9:07 a.m. 3 sentences. Your position has been eliminated, effective immediately. He stared at the screen, and the world went silent. Then, white-hot rage. Not sadness, not fear, just pure volcanic anger. He swept his arm across his desk. The monitor crashed to the floor, the coffee mug shattered against the wall, and the carefully constructed facade of a calm professional crumbled into 1,000 pieces. In that moment, he wasn't a manager, a husband, or a leader. He was just a raw nerve, exposed and screaming at a world that had betrayed him. He had lost more than a job. He had lost control. And the bitterest part? He knew, deep down, that this explosion was why he'd been on the chopping block in the first place. Does this story feel familiar? Maybe it wasn't a job. Maybe it was a relationship, a traffic jam, or a careless word from someone you love. A switch flips. The blood rushes to your head, and for a few seconds, or maybe a few minutes, you are no longer the one in charge. Something older, something primal takes the wheel. You have become a slave to your own emotions. For years, you've been told this is just who you are. You're passionate. You have a short fuse. You feel things deeply. These are comfortable lies we tell ourselves to justify the unseen chains that bind us. The chains of emotional reactivity. These chains sabotage our success, poison our relationships, and steal our peace. They keep us living in a state of constant defense, reacting to the world instead of acting upon it. But what if I told you those chains could be broken? What if I told you that the ability to remain calm in the face of chaos, to think clearly under pressure, and to choose your response in any situation is not a genetic gift, but a skill that can be learned, practiced, and mastered? What if I told you you could forge something new within yourself, something unbreakable, a mind of steel? This is not a lecture. This is a forge. And over the next hour, we will embark on a transformative journey together. We will dismantle the prison of your reactivity, piece by piece. We will give you the blueprint and the tools to build a fortress of inner strength. This isn't about suppressing what you feel. It's about rising above it. It's about becoming the master of your inner world, not its victim. The journey from emotional slave to mental master begins now. The only question is, are you ready to build?
Before you can escape a prison, you must first understand its design. Your emotional prison wasn't built overnight. It was constructed over a lifetime, reinforced by biology, psychology, and experience. To break free, we must become the architect of our own liberation, and that starts with studying the blueprints of our own mind. First, let's talk about your biology. Deep within your brain, in the temporal lobe, sits a small almond-shaped cluster of neurons called the amygdala. Think of it as your mind's ancient security guard. It's been with our species for millions of years, and its only job is to scan for threats, real or perceived, and sound the alarm. When it senses danger, it triggers the fight or flight response, flooding your body with cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart rate skyrockets, your breathing quickens, your muscles tense. In a fraction of a second, you are ready for war or escape. This is the amygdala hijack. Thousands of years ago, this system saved us from saber-toothed tigers. Today, it activates when your boss sends a one-word email, urgent, or when someone cuts you off in traffic. The threat has changed, but the primal, biological reaction has not. Your body doesn't know the difference between a physical threat and an emotional one. A threat to your ego, your status, or your sense of fairness can trigger the exact same biological cascade as a predator in the wild. You are hardwired to react first and think second. That is your biological default. It is not a weakness. It is a feature of your survival mechanism. But in the modern world, this feature often becomes a bug. But biology is only half the story. The other half is your psychological programming. Your amygdala may be the guard, but your life experiences have given it a very specific list of things to watch out for. Think of these as your emotional triggers. These triggers are programmed into you from your earliest years. A parent who was quick to anger may have programmed you to see any form of criticism as a profound threat. A past betrayal may have wired you to interpret a friend's silence as a sign of abandonment. A failure in school may have taught you that making a mistake is not an opportunity for growth, but a source of deep, unbearable shame. These experiences create neural pathways in your brain that become superhighways for emotional reactions. When a trigger is pulled, your brain doesn't take the scenic route of rational thought. It takes the express lane straight to the amygdala. This programming runs so deep that most of the time we aren't even aware it's happening. We simply feel the anger, the anxiety, or the fear, and we believe that feeling is the absolute truth of the moment. We don't realize we are reliving a script written decades ago. And what is the true cost of living this way? It is immense. It's not just about the occasional outburst. It's a life lived in a state of chronic stress with elevated cortisol levels damaging your physical health, weakening your immune system, and accelerating aging. It's the erosion of trust in your most important relationships, as loved ones learn to walk on eggshells around you, never sure which version of you they're going to get. It's a career held back by impulsive decisions, burnt bridges, and a reputation for being difficult. It's the exhaustion of living in a constant state of defense where every interaction is scanned for potential threats and every day is a battle against your own internal chaos. This is the prison of reactivity, a cage built by biology and reinforced by your past. But here is the profound truth that will be the foundation of everything we build today. Just because your brain has a default setting does not mean you are stuck with it. You have the power to rewire these circuits. You have the ability to build a new road in your mind, a road of conscious, deliberate response. To do that, we need a new blueprint.
When you hear the phrase, a mind of steel, what do you picture? A cold, unfeeling machine? A person who suppresses all emotion, detached and robotic? This is a fundamental misunderstanding. Forging a steel mind is not about becoming less human. It's about becoming more human in the most empowered sense of the word. It's not about feeling nothing. It's about feeling everything, but being controlled by nothing. Imagine a raging storm. The reactive mind is a small boat tossed mercilessly by the waves, at the complete mercy of the elements. The steel mind is the lighthouse. It stands firm on its foundation, aware of every wave, every blast of wind, every flash of lightning. It experiences the full force of the storm, yet it is not moved. Its light, its consciousness, cuts through the chaos, steady and unwavering. It doesn't deny the storm, it simply refuses to become it. This is the essence of mental mastery, and it is built upon 4 foundational pillars. The first pillar is awareness. This is the bedrock. Awareness is the ability to observe your inner world without judgment. It's the capacity to step back and watch your thoughts and emotions as they arise, like watching clouds drift across the sky. The reactive mind says, "I am angry." It fuses its identity with the emotion. The aware mind says, "I am experiencing the sensation of anger." It creates a space between the self and the feeling.
This small shift in language reflects a monumental shift in perspective. Without awareness, you're a prisoner who doesn't even know he's in a cell. With awareness, you hold the key in your hand. The second pillar is detachment. If awareness is seeing the emotional storm, detachment is the power to not run out into the rain. It is the conscious creation of a space between the emotional stimulus and your physical reaction. Viktor Frankl, a man who survived the horrors of the Holocaust, put it best: between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Detachment is the art of widening that space, even if only for a single second. It is in that sacred pause that the slave becomes the master. The third pillar is discipline. Awareness and detachment are passive. Discipline is active. It is the forged strength to make a conscious choice in that space of detachment, over and over again, until it becomes your new default. It is the will to choose the difficult, deliberate response over the easy, impulsive reaction. Discipline is saying no to the immediate gratification of an angry outburst to say yes to the long-term reward of self-respect and peace. It is the engine of your transformation, fueled by intention and consistency. And the fourth and final pillar is action. A steel mind is not built in meditation alone. It is forged in the fires of real-world application. Action is the courage to live by a set of principles and values, even when your emotions are screaming at you to do the opposite. It is stepping into uncomfortable situations with your newfound tools. It is having the difficult conversation with calmness and clarity. It is apologizing when you are wrong, holding your ground when you are right, and walking away when a battle is not worth fighting. Action is the final crucial step that turns internal strength into external reality. Awareness, detachment, discipline, and action. These are not abstract concepts. They are the four legs of the table on which your inner peace will rest. They are the components we will use step by step to build your fortress. Forget the idea of being emotionless. Embrace the vision of being emotionally sovereign. The goal is not to stop the waves. The goal is to learn how to surf. If this blueprint resonates with you, if you feel that this is the path you've been searching for, then take a moment to subscribe to this channel. This is more than just a video. It's the beginning of a training ground for your mind. We will be exploring even deeper strategies in the weeks to come. And by subscribing, you are making a commitment to your own growth. Join us. Now, let's pick up the tools and begin the work.
A blueprint is useless without a builder. It is time to move from theory to practice, from understanding to doing. This is the forge. We will now walk through 5 concrete, actionable steps. These are not quick fixes. They are lifelong practices. But the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Let's take that first step now. Build the watchtower. Mastering awareness. Your first task is to become the silent watchman of your own mind. You must build a watchtower, a place of high perspective from which you can observe the territory of your thoughts and feelings without getting lost in the landscape. This is the practice of mastering awareness. The first technique is called the third-person narrative. The moment you feel a strong emotion begin to rise, anger, anxiety, frustration, I want you to switch your internal monologue from the first person to the third person.
For example, instead of thinking, "I am so angry right now, I can't believe he said that," you will narrate it as if you are a character in a book. Alex is feeling a surge of anger. His jaw is clenching, and his heart rate is increasing. He is interpreting the comment as a personal attack. This technique does something miraculous. It forces a separation between your identity, the observer, the I, and the emotion, the temporary experience. You are no longer the anger. You are the one noticing the anger. This creates an immediate sliver of detachment. Your first practice is anchored breathing. This is your emergency brake for the amygdala hijack. When you feel the storm rising, your attention is your anchor. Deliberately shift your entire focus to the physical sensation of your breath. Feel the air entering your nostrils, cool and crisp. Feel your abdomen expand. Hold for a count of 4. Then feel the air leaving your body, warmer than when it entered. Do this for just 3 cycles, 60 seconds. This act of focused attention interrupts the reactive loop. It tells your nervous system that despite the perceived threat, you are in control. You are safe enough to breathe. Your primary tool for this step is the trigger journal. Every evening for 10 minutes, I want you to write down any moment from the day where you felt a strong reactive emotion. But don't just write what happened. I want you to be a detective. Use this structure. 1. What was the external event? E.g., my colleague interrupted me in a meeting. 2. What was the immediate emotion and its intensity on a scale of 1 to 10? E.g., anger, 8/10. Humiliation, 7/10. 3. What was the story I told myself about this event? E.g., he did that to make me look stupid. He doesn't respect me. 4. What physical sensations did I feel? E.g., heat in my face, tight chest. Over time, your journal will reveal your patterns. You will see that it's rarely the event itself that causes your suffering, but the story you attach it to. This journal is not for self-judgment. It is for self-discovery. It is the intelligence report from your inner world, and it is the first step to conquering it. Create the void, practicing strategic detachment. Now that you can see the storm coming from your watchtower, the next step is not to get swept away by it. You must learn to create a void, a sacred pause, a space of stillness between the feeling and the action. This is the art of strategic detachment. A powerful technique for this is the Stoic view from above. When you feel overwhelmed by a problem, when an insult feels like the end of the world, I want you to perform a mental exercise. Close your eyes. Imagine yourself floating up, out of your body, looking down at yourself in the room. Then float higher, seeing the building, then the city, then your country as a patch of green on a spinning globe. Float higher still, past the moon, past the planets, until the Earth is just a tiny blue marble in the vast, silent, star-dusted expanse of the cosmos. From this perspective, look back at that problem, that insult, that person. See how small and transient it is in the grand scheme of things. Is it still worth the cost of your inner peace? This exercise doesn't invalidate your feelings. It contextualizes them. It shrinks the problem down to its true size, robbing it of its power to consume you. Your core practice is cognitive reframing. This is the art of becoming your own spin doctor. Remember, we don't suffer from events. We suffer from our judgments about them. Reframing is consciously challenging and rewriting your initial judgment. When your mind generates the thought, "This is a disaster, I'll never recover," You must meet it with a counterthought. Ask yourself, is that 100% true? What is a more empowering way to look at this? The thought, "This is a disaster," can be reframed to, "This is a significant challenge and it will require all of my skills to navigate." The thought, "She is disrespecting me," can be reframed to, "Her behavior likely reflects her own stress, not my inherent worth." This is not naive optimism. It is strategic realism. It is choosing the interpretation that best serves your mental well-being and your ultimate goals. Your tool for this step is the pause protocol. This is a non-negotiable rule you will implement in your life. Before you respond to any significant emotional stimulus, a provocative email, a criticism, a stressful request, you must enforce a mandatory pause. For a text message, it might be 10 seconds of deep breathing. For an email, it might be 10 minutes. For a major life decision, it might be 10 hours or 10 days. The length of the pause should be proportional to the potential impact of the decision. This pause is your sanctuary. It is the space where the amygdala's shout fades and the whisper of your wisdom can finally be heard. It is the single most powerful habit you can build to move from reaction to response. Architect your discipline, building unbreakable willpower. Awareness and detachment prevent you from acting impulsively. But true mastery requires more. It requires the strength to act deliberately, to consistently choose the harder right over the easier wrong. This is discipline, and like a muscle, it must be trained. The core philosophy here is what I call discomfort as a vitamin. Our modern lives are designed for comfort, but comfort creates softness, both physical and mental. To build a mind of steel, you must intentionally introduce small, controlled doses of discomfort into your life. This is your mental strength training. It could be taking a 30-second cold shower at the end of your warm one. It could be waking up 15 minutes earlier than you need to. It could be choosing to take the stairs instead of the elevator. These small acts of voluntary hardship do something profound. They train your mind to tolerate discomfort. They prove to yourself on a daily basis that you, not your fleeting desires for ease and comfort, are in command. When you voluntarily face the cold, you are better prepared to face the coldness of a harsh criticism. When you choose the stairs, you are building the capacity to choose the harder path in a negotiation. You are teaching your brain that you, not your fleeting desires, are in command. Your practice is the 1% rule. The idea of becoming a disciplined person is overwhelming, so forget it. Instead, focus on making just one disciplined choice at a time. Today, your goal is not to be a master of self-control. Your goal is simply to win the next decision. When the urge to hit snooze arises, win that one battle. When the urge to lash out in frustration appears, win that one battle. Each small victory is a 1% improvement. It seems insignificant, but the power of compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. 1% better every day for a year doesn't make you 365% better. It makes you nearly 38 times better. Focus on winning the moment, and the moments will build the master. Your tool is to design an anti-reaction environment. You are a product of your environment. If your phone is constantly buzzing with stressful news alerts and inflammatory social media, you are living in a minefield of emotion.
Enter the arena, turning theory into action. A sword is not tested in the forge, it is tested in battle. Your mind of steel is not built in quiet contemplation alone. It is built by applying your new skills in the arena of your life. A crucial technique for this is fear setting, an exercise popularized by author Tim Ferriss and rooted in Stoic philosophy. Most of us are paralyzed by vague, undefined fears. This exercise drags them into the light. Take a fear that is holding you back. For instance, the fear of having a difficult but necessary conversation. On a piece of paper, in the first column, you will define your nightmare. What is the absolute worst-case scenario? Be brutally specific. I will get fired. I will become homeless. My family will leave me. In the second column, you will ask, for each of those points, what could I do to prevent this from happening? And in the third column, you will ask, if the worst-case scenario did happen, what specific steps could I take to repair the damage? What you will find, almost without exception, is that the imagined monster is far more terrifying than the real one. You will realize that you have the resources and resilience to handle even the worst outcome. This exercise does not eliminate fear, it cages it. It turns a paralyzing anxiety into a manageable set of problems. Your practice is controlled exposure. This is about gradually and safely desensitizing yourself to your triggers. If you have a fear of public speaking, you don't start by giving a keynote address. You start by speaking up for 10 seconds in a low-stakes meeting, then 30 seconds. Then you volunteer to give a short presentation to a small, friendly group. Each time you face the trigger and survive, each time you feel the fear but act anyway, you are rewriting the code in your brain. You are providing new evidence that contradicts the old programming. You are teaching your amygdala that this situation, while uncomfortable, is not a threat to your survival. You are expanding your comfort zone one deliberate step at a time. Your tool is the after-action report. After you navigate a challenging emotional situation, you must review your performance, not as a critic, but as a coach. Ask yourself 3 questions. 1. What went well? Did I remember to pause? Did I use my anchored breathing? Acknowledge your successes, no matter how small. 2. What could be improved? Where did I slip back into old patterns? What was the trigger that I missed? 3. What is one specific thing I will do differently next time? This is not about beating yourself up. It is about extracting the lesson. Every failure, every setback becomes a priceless piece of data that will make you stronger for the next battle. The master is not the one who never falls. He is the one who always gets up smarter than before. Defend the fortress, protecting your mind. You have built the watchtower, created the void, architected your discipline, and tested yourself in the arena. You have built a fortress. Now you must learn to defend it, because the world will constantly test your walls. A key technique for dealing with toxic or manipulative people is the gray rock method. When you are dealing with someone who feeds on drama and emotional reactions, an energy vampire, you must become as boring as a gray rock. They will try to provoke you, to insult you, to bait you into an argument. Do not engage. Give short, factual, uninteresting answers. Do not share personal information. Do not show emotion, either positive or negative. To them, your emotional energy is food. When you provide none, they will grow bored and move on to find another source. This is not passive aggression. It is a powerful strategic withdrawal of the resource they seek. It is a quiet, impenetrable shield. Your daily practice is cultivating an information diet. The food you eat builds your body. The information you consume builds your mind.
If you're constantly consuming a diet of outrage, fear-mongering news, and trivial celebrity gossip, you're building a mind of anxiety and distraction. Be as ruthless with your information diet as a professional athlete is with their nutrition. Choose a few high-quality sources for news and check them once a day. Replace mindless scrolling with reading a book, listening to an insightful podcast, or simply being silent. Your focus is your most precious currency. Stop giving it away to things that do not enrich you. Your final tool is a set of boundary-setting scripts. Healthy boundaries are the walls of your fortress. You need to know how to build them with words. Having pre-prepared scripts removes the emotional hesitation in the moment. For example, if someone is making an unreasonable demand on your time, instead of fumbling for an excuse, you can calmly say, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I'm unable to take that on right now." If someone is speaking to you disrespectfully, you can say, "I will not continue this conversation while I'm being spoken to in this tone." These scripts are not aggressive, they are clear. They are a calm statement of what you will and will not accept. They teach people how to treat you, and they are essential for protecting your inner peace.
So what does it look like? What does life feel like on the other side of this journey when you are no longer the slave, but the master? It is not a life without problems. Storms will still come. The world will still be chaotic. People will still be unpredictable. The difference is you. You are no longer the small boat. You are the lighthouse. You stand on a foundation of solid rock, built by your own hands. It's the quiet confidence of knowing that no insult can truly diminish you because your self-worth is generated from within, not bestowed by others. It's the clarity to make powerful, life-altering decisions, not from a place of fear or anger, but from a deep, centered wisdom. It's the freedom to feel the full spectrum of human emotion, joy, grief, love, sorrow, without being dominated by any of them. You can step into your sadness without drowning in it. You can feel anger without becoming its vessel. It's the deep, unshakable peace that comes from knowing you are the sovereign of your own mind. You are the one who chooses. You are the one who decides. You have taken back the throne of your own consciousness. We have walked through the 5 steps of the forging. We learned to build the watchtower of awareness, to see our inner world clearly. We learned to create the void of detachment, to find freedom in the pause. We learned to architect our discipline, building strength through small daily victories. We learned to enter the arena of action, turning theory into undeniable reality. And we learned to defend the fortress, protecting our mind with boundaries and strategic disengagement. This journey is not easy. It is perhaps the most difficult work a human being can undertake, but it is also the most rewarding. It is the ultimate act of self-liberation. You are not born to be a puppet of your programming. You were born to be a creator. So I challenge you now. Don't just let this be an interesting video. Let this be day 1. Pick one thing, just one. Will you start a trigger journal tonight? Will you practice the pause protocol on the next stressful text you receive? Will you take 30 seconds of a cold shower tomorrow morning? Take that first step, because the journey from emotional slave to mental master is not a single grand leap. It is 1,000 small steps taken with intention, day after day. The steel is not yet forged, but the fire is lit. The hammer is in your hands. We all have a unique story of struggle and strength. I want to hear yours.
In the comments below, share one emotional trigger you are committed to mastering. By sharing it, you not only hold yourself accountable. Let's build a community of masters, not victims. Now, begin.